Hello and welcome everybody. As you can see here, we've got a little bit of a puzzle. And that puzzle is the Keychron Q1. And that's what we're going to be building today. So you may have seen a previous video that I released where we did the Q0 and it was meant to complement my Keychron Q1. Now this is a first generation Q1 that I have added the encoder to, and I've never really been able to get the kind of sound profile and typing feel that I like from it. I originally used to have, I had Lilac T1s on it, and it was a steel plate. Wasn't happy with it. Thought that perhaps if I added a palm plate that it would make a difference. Didn't really change for me. Redid the gaskets in a couple different ways. Never really did find a configuration that made any difference. Then I came up with the awesome idea of, why don't we add more weight to it? That'll make it sound more hearty, right? Well, these are 1/4 ounce wheel weights that you would use to balance a tire. And these have added, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of 1.6 to 1.8 pounds to this build. And in order to accommodate that, I also had to get a mid plate. That way it added enough height to it so that I could place those wheel weights in there, because I think there's something like 2 millimeters high, something like that. So that could effectively be used as a force brake if you wanted to. But in this case, we're actually using it to raise the height of the build so that way we can use these wheel weights. These are the stabilizers that came with the board. I want to say these are the standard Keychron ones, and they have been lubed, and the wires do want to pop out of them quite a bit, but I want to make sure I'm going to fall in love with this build before I go too far into that. I've tried different types of tape mods. I've done single layer, dual layer, triple layer. I think I settled on 3 layers with this one. I've gone all the way to 4 layers, and I just didn't want it sounding too tapey. So here we've got some EVA foam. And originally this had 1 layer of EVA foam in it as well in the actual case. So we had EVA foam here, EVA foam here. Once we did the palm plate, it got too quiet, so we did the tape mod to try to add more volume to it. And it helped, it brought some of the sound out. I can play a sound clip for you guys. I'll do a demonstration at some point that has all the different variations to kind of give you an idea of what it sounded like. But ultimately, never found exactly what I wanted from this build. So I figured, let's take it all the way back. Let's get some different keycaps. I ended up getting these Tai-Hao Lavastone keycaps, which again we showcased with the Q1 build. The legends are very crisp, but they are very light, very thin rather, and kind of, here, very plasticky sounding. So I did do a test build of this, and I thought it sounded okay, but the big thing was swapping out those switches. Now in the Q0 we built with these Purple Pandas, but since then I have lubed and filmed these Purple Pandas, and I gotta tell you, I think these things not only sound great, but pretty nice mid tactile. I mean, they're no Neapolitan ice creams and they're no SP Star Magic Girls, but they're pretty nice. So anyway, let's go ahead and get this guy reassembled. I want to do a couple different things. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and set these aside because what I'd like to do is get the switches on it and then get the keycaps on it and try to determine whether or not the placement of a small EVA strip toward the top will even the sound out any, because even with the tape there's still a bit of unevenness to it. There's a nice deep sound at the top that doesn't unify with the midsection and the bottom. So I want to try this out, and then if it still doesn't hit the mark, I'm either going to leave it or we may do a silicone pour at some time in the future. So here we've got our Purple Pandas. Again, these are lubed and filmed with Duroc films, the 0.15 millimeter films. So let's go ahead and get these on here, and we'll get onto the keycaps. So here we go. There we go. One thing I do want to mention is that you do not need to film these. I filmed them because I don't really actually have a reason for it. I felt like there was a bit of a gap, but really it was completely unnecessary. Some of the switches were actually kind of difficult to close after that, so I don't think filming is entirely necessary at all. Or rather, it's entirely unnecessary. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back in here, and actually we need to do the top first. There we go. Now we've got a little ribbon cable that's here that we need to reconnect. Okay, that's reconnected. And then what I've done is I did not add any gaskets to the bottom because we do have some small gasket material here and then on the top half, so there's none on the actual palm plate, but I have added some gasket material on the palm plate here because in certain areas you need to double up. If you look here, there are a few little pieces here because I tried doing kind of like a spring mount to see if that would add any kind of bounce or anything to it, but where she sits now I'm pretty happy with. Okay. And you can probably, if I hold it like this, you should be able to see that there's quite a bit of flex there. So that's one of the nice things about what I've done here. I don't know if I can get a better angle on that, but there is a ton of flex there. So what I want to do is let me go ahead and put a couple keycaps on here so we can try to see what that sound sounds like. There we go, there's an F1. So I don't know if you can hear that. So here's what I'm trying to get at. So let's see if putting, woo, almost dumped those over. We put one layer of, put a layer of EVA in there and see if it affects the sound in any capacity. I'm going to put this up toward the top. because, oh, but we lose. Interesting. Okay, so I've learned a thing, that if we do that, there is zip 0 not a flex. So this is a 2mm thick sheet of EVA. And you can see here, we're buttoned right up against the edge. I think we'd be able to get it to close, but then we'd just be turning it into a GMMK Pro, because it pushes the plate right up against it. So we get flex here at the bottom, but it removes all flex at the top. Does it? It doesn't really affect the sound in a positive way, so I guess we're just going to have that row variance. I was going to PE foam it, but the roll of PE foam that I picked up is a little too thick for certain applications. It won't work for this one, and I've been trying to find a roll of PE foam that comes in smaller and thinner PE. So if you're curious what that is, I have 1.5mm. You want something that is 0.5mm to 1mm. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and dump these out. And we're going to get these put on. And then I want to show the special artisans that you guys may have seen in the last video. But we'll show those off and we'll get ourselves a nice little sound test. So let's go ahead and start putting some of these keycaps on. Alright, there you go, keycaps are on. And then these are some very special artisan. These are stabilized wood, they're walnut with resin inlay. And I had several of these made. They came out not perfect. I would disclose the Etsy creators information, but I will wait to do that until the ones that are properly finished arrive here from overseas. But he did an alright job making some knobs. And then we've got keycap here. Now, to be fair to the artist, OEM is a very tough profile to match because there's so much variance in the different OEM profiles. But it still does look pretty good. I think it makes for a nice showpiece. And if I want to use it, the keyboard is usable. So let's get these guys on here. Okay. And there we go. Beast is heavy, but this is the Tai-Hao Lavastone with those custom artisan stabilized wood and resins on the gray Keychron Q1 that still needs a little bit of cleanup love. We have this on here properly. It's on there properly. So I'm going to go ahead and get this on. And then here's always the difficult part because I'm too lazy to elevate it. But we've got 8 hex screws. And we're going to use our screwdriver kit screwdriver again. And we're going to go around and get all 8 of these in. And there you have it. So why don't we go ahead and take this for a sound test. Heavy boy. What'd you think? Sounded pretty good, right? Sounded like a pretty significant improvement over past sounds. And it does kind of have that weird, almost like a Lego plasticiness to it. And I do think thicker keycaps would round out the experience. But honestly, I mean, look at it. That looks beautiful. Absolutely stunning. So I think it looks beautiful. The Lavastone brings the color scheme together. The Purple Pandas with that palm plate and the weight mods that we've done to it gives it a very nice mid clack that I really enjoy. And we didn't even have to PE foam it, and I think it sounds pretty awesome. So yeah, there it is. Let me know what you guys thought. You know, what would you have done differently? If you have a Q1, why don't you tell me a little bit about what you've done, and maybe post a video of your sound test for yourself, and let us check those out and compare. And I'm curious what other people have done. I've seen some videos where people have just done nothing but a force break, and they were perfectly content with it, and the sound sounded fine. I really think that for the longest time I was just running the wrong switches. I think I was attached to it. It was my first set of switches that I ever got. And I was just really attached to the idea of those Lilac tactiles, when the reality of it is that old punk shoe, I think I like long pole switches because I just like that clacky nature of them. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you thought and how you think it came out. Tell me a little bit about what you think about these artisan keycaps and the knob. What do you guys think about that? And yeah, so look forward to another video coming next week. I think I'm not decided on what I'm going to do, but I think I might be doing the either mod 007 v2 finally, or maybe I'll cover the Zoom 65 Olivia edition. What do you think about that? Either way, make sure you get subscribed so that way you can catch those videos when they go live. Got about 92% of the people who watch my videos not subscribed. So make sure you get subscribed, hit that notification bell icon so you can be notified when these videos go up. And hopefully you'll be able to catch the Olivia video, or any video for that matter. But anyway, as always, I want to thank you all for hanging out with me today. This was a fun, nice, quick build. I think it came out beautiful. And I look forward to hanging with you guys on the next one. But until then, y'all have a good one.